G'day legends, Atron here, back for another session of Guild Wars, going in for a little bit more strategy play on the Empower heroes, which are raining a little bit of havoc over certain attack strategies in Guild Wars. So, we're going to be using Mike again today. We'll flick Mike and Athene in and out, because Mike has been proven fairly worthy to get rid of some Athenes that are, on that Empower and auto-procking, basically deflecting and killing herself. So that strategy was used by a few of my guildmates last Guild Wars, and seems to be a fairly, if not spoken about, a fairly used method anyway. So what I did do and changed on my Athene is I simply just swapped the 5 Stone Skin to a 5 Bulwark, because I mainly want to use her for I just attack in Guild Wars, so I'm not too concerned about her defensive capabilities, because it appears that in LBF and Fortress Feud, she's still really low HP pool, so you don't necessarily want to be using her as a tank. She's mainly there for either attack in Guild Wars, or you might put her in Empower for the utility, essentially, have that 8 of 8 in power, so which seems to be a fairly widely used talent on her at the moment. So asides that, we are going into the Guild Wars. So same team as last time, actually, Black Onyx, these two here. So what I want to do here is just utilize and show everyone what I was doing on this base. So we'll just go through those. We'll just go through those pets and whatever that I'm doing, just having a look at the team a little bit more in depth, and then we'll jump right into it. So I've got Rockno in 5 Vite this time round, because I feel he definitely needs to be healing straight away. He's still getting sniped off from these Empower procs. Heartbreak is there just for the damage. Who else am I using? Ronin, obviously, Phoenix, Anubis, Doom Ballon, and Mike for some just speedy heals, essentially, on Bublo. And then Tree is almost irrelevant, so I don't really ever change him. So artifacts wise, what am I using? Anubis generally I'll generally put in Goblet of Life as well. And so Ronin, Mike and Anubis, and then I've got Athene and Heartbreak are both in Lightning Rock, so they can get to the buildings quicker. I've got Blitz, so he's stun immune, along with Yellowfant, and I think that's my 6, and Tree, but I don't put Tree in anything. He's in Victor's Emblem at the moment. So let's get into the next base. Alrighty then, so let's go in for this top base again, running Empowered heroes, and how I'm dealing with them with Mike coming into the play. So that didn't work out too well, which I'm not sure. You've got to kind of make sure that none of the other heroes are gonna hit Mike, because he probably can only take damage from Gunslinger and Athene. He probably can't take damage from Skelly, Walla, Mike, and Frank all at the same time. And by Mike, I mean Mike's proc. So one thing is to take care of. Frank's energy will always stay full unless he has targets. So that's really important that you make sure those troops, they go in to, well, if they die too quick from the arrow towers, then that is not going to register as an attack. But you also got to make sure that Skelly is, he's an auto-proc hero too. So you want to make sure the troops are dropped, and that Skelly's proc would shoot over there. Now Skelly's only getting energy from Athene, but Frank is getting his own energy from an Empower crest. And Walla is also getting energy from an Empower crest. So we've got 2 heroes that are full energy, Skelly and Frank. So you want to deal with both of those, and as a far away possible point is, so Frank and Skelly procs go in, Mike goes over, more troops over here. Not really doing enough damage on the Athene there. Whereas I feel like last time she was just KOing herself a lot harder on all this stuff. So there she goes. She's down now, and Mike might kill Athene, which was fine, but last time she did kill, or Mike killed the gunslinger as well, which might have just been some RNG luck. So what I want to do this time is probably... see, the issue now is once Frank's alive, is you've got to be really vigilant on your troop dropping, because if he hits Ronin, he is going to be damaging him a fair bit. So we put Ronin over there. We're making sure that every time that Frank is procking, that we've got some troops lined up. So it's really like a tap frenzy when you've got Frank's energy getting close, and even Walla's energy. I mean, you got to watch all of them. You got to watch Frank, you got to watch Walla, and you got to watch Skelly. So they've got low in power crest, so it's a bit easier. But and obviously Skelly is not getting energy aside Ronin hitting him. But the reason I went in from the side is because then I can deal with all the bases, all the buildings on that one side. So we still gotta tap. Frank's going off, Skelly's going off, so get some procs over there. Who else? Walla's going off, so we drop some troops. So we don't want to deal with that. And then Frank is going off, and oh, he hit Ronin. Okay, so that's why I didn't watch out, and we didn't get to let Ronin live, essentially. So most important aspect here is getting that Frank proc off before I put Rockno in. So Frank proc on the side, Rockno in. He's on 5 Vite. He's gonna crunch the nearest buildings, and then what are we doing? We've got 1, 2, 3 buildings left, so making sure we definitely have troops. Definitely let Walla just proc first if you've got the time. You don't want to be dealing with the slow, and you don't want to be dealing with the debuff. So Frank proc over there, Heartbreakers on Lightning Rock. Obviously try and take into account the Gunslinger proc as well. Something I did forget, not a big deal. But if I had more buildings left, it would have been a massive deal, because I would have needed Heartbreaker to take out all of those buildings. So obviously we don't want to be interrupted with stun when we go Anubis, so we get him in. He's going to die once or twice, and unless... there we go. So he's done, and that's that first base again. A little bit harder than the last time, I think, simply because my Mike was able to kill the Gunslinger fairly easy. So alright, let's hit this next one in just a sec. Okay, so we're on this second one now, and I scoped it out just for a sec, and you can still use Mike on this, but I think last time I might have not necessarily used Mike, I can't remember. But two things you want to do is you want to make sure Skelly is full proc. So a couple of troops, Skelly proc goes, Frank proc goes, and then you would like Athene to be hitting the Mike, essentially. So, and you can get rid of her that way, because I believe these heroes didn't have any Empower crests on them. So, oh no, Walla's not. So just Gunslinger with her copters going there. So the most important thing to note about this space and how and why I waited for those procs is, you know, you want Skelly because he'll do heaps of damage to you, but without Athene, and if you get rid of the Athene, then she stops, or you get rid of the Empower Athene, she stops all of the other auto-procking heroes. So she stops Frank, and she stops Walla, and she stops Skelly, all from auto-procking. Also, Rock won't, if he's melee, he's not going to hurt you as much, but he'll heal back up if you're trying to do some crazy sniping stuff. So, and we just use Ronin as per normal after that, probably tanking him on the Skelly up here. So he's going to go in, and obviously we can leave those other buildings on the side open for Anubis to click onto, and for, you know, Rockno to run into. It's not going to be a huge deal. So obviously keeping, you really kind of just need to be tapping, because it's really hard to see what kind of heroes are at what energy. So if he's hitting Frank especially, and Frank is procking, that's where it's going to hurt Ronin, and he is going to die. Now I'm actually pretty comfortable with 34%, two reasons being, most of one side is already taken out, and I've got 2 entry points left. So the only problem is I've got to watch out for Gunslinger. So Rockno is energy immune, he's going to go in from one side, and then Heartbreaker is simply going to go over this wall and then I'm going to do, I'm going to drop bulk troops to go behind Heartbreaker. So that's what we're doing here. We're dropping bulk troops over this side. We're dropping Heartbreaker, bulk troops again. She's going to make havoc of the rest of the base. So a totem went off, and lucky I had all those troops there because the Medusa proc was soaked up with those troops. Now we've got one building left, which is an easy target for an Anubis Doom Balloon. So just a little bit of thought into dropping Heartbreaker, especially in that other one from the top base there. That was a lot more difficult on the 338 one because I didn't take into account that Gunslinger proc. So lots of troops before you drop a weaker hero that's going to do AoE damage like Heartbreaker. Lots of troops after you drop her to soak up any other additional auto procs, totems that might affect her. So let's go to the next. Let's get a move on to World Wars. So I think they had both 300k targets, so they've obviously dropped might since the beginning of the war. But this base is not going to be that competitive. Frank's got 5 Vite, so we're just going to drop one troop far away from damage, and that will release his proc. So 5 Vite wasted there. I think that Golem has got, is that a Golem? Golem on base? I think that Golem has a 5 Vite as well, but to be honest, I'm not really interested in the, I'm not interested in healing or killing the hero, so that's not really a concern of mine. Now it's really just dealing with Gunslinger, which is easy enough, as everyone knows. Same sort of strategy with Ronin, getting rid of troops, buildings, lots of things. So I did take away Mike, as you would have seen. Making sure that there's lots of troops ready for his Frank's proc when he goes in. So Ronin is taking up heaps of this base. So Anubis, Anubis and Walla on one side, and then Gunslinger, Skelly and Golem on another. Nothing really too tricky about this. I'm not even sure. Well, let's just look at. We've got Frank, who's there, and miss. So that Frank wasn't accuracy, obviously, because if he was, Ronin would be dead meat, 100% dead meat. So I think Ronin's going to do this solo. So I will use the troops just because it saves me 10 gems. I can rather use 2 gems on the army camp to revive troops than reviving Ronin if he's going to get. If I've got 96%, I might as well just drop Anubis, and then we can finish it as per necessary. So Ronin will get destroyed by a Frank who has 5 Vite, or a Frank who's proccing in Guild Wars, or a Frank that has accuracy. If he's in the midst, he can dodge everyone else's, but if Frank's got, because he can hit him through the invisibility, which is why I think Frank is unique in that matter when versing Ronin. So very good for Ronin bombing defense. Anyway, all right, second last target. So not a lot of strategy needed on that last base. Wonder if this one will be any different. So heroes are all bunched. We've got definitely a Gunslinger. We've got Frank that has an Empower crest, and Walla that doesn't, but that's pretty much all we need to watch out for. So dealing with that Frank proc over there, see it by, putting him in, so as soon as he gets close to top of energy, we're going to drop a couple of troops either side for a higher chance that they'll absorb that Frank proc rather than the Ronin taking it on full head. So just, obviously the copters as well, but when Frank gets close, just drop an extra couple in the midst of that. Obviously, if Ronin is hitting Frank, he's going to be getting more energy as well, so watch out for that. So when he's hitting in the middle, in the cluster, you really should be spamming a fair chunk of heroes, because you've got Walla procs, auto procs, Anubis procs, Frank procs, which are the most deadly to Ronin. So if you don't have a constant troop base going on, then you're going to be affected a lot more than if you didn't. So you have just a higher chance rather than those Frank procs going elsewhere. You know, you get rid of them that way. So we've got 2 minutes left. We look for the biggest cluster because Rockno is going to take out the biggest cluster because he's the tankiest. Unless he needs to go over a wall, for example. So I'm thinking the biggest cluster is down here, making sure Frank doesn't proc even though he's stun immune, and making sure no one... So he'll get to the heroes, Rockno will get to the heroes, and he should have most of the buildings destroyed. He'll die fairly quickly to all the heroes, but that's fine. No one else besides Gunslinger is doing any crazy damage, like there's no Empower Wallas to worry about, so there's really just that Empower Frank. So we do that, we drop Rockno, and he's going to go in on that 5 Vite. He's healing as well, so the only thing troops do when Rockno is going in is pretty much just deal with the copter damage or take away, you know, some extra damage that he's going to get. So again, Frank there, so we're going to draw a lot of troops down. We're going to be dropping Athene. I'm probably going to drop Athene over here because I feel like it's less risky, and then I'll also get Heartbreaker down here, as she is in... No, they're both in Lightning, so they both should get there fairly quick. So troops, Athene, Heartbreaker, troops again to deal with... What is it? The Gunslinger, the Frank, bullets, copters, all that jazz, and then 25 seconds left. We took a bit longer, but obviously that's going to be 100% with one Anubis proc, no worries. Now, it's interesting to see that he, as you can see in the Anubis is stunned right there, so he's getting stunned straight away, but it's not stopping the Doom Ballon proc from going off, which, you know, if you dropped a hero and he was stunned immediately from a Frank proc, sometimes it does stop heroes procking, so it will probably have stopped Anubis itself procking, but it doesn't stop the Doom Ballon proc, which is very important to note, I suppose, but doesn't really going to change the drift of how the guild wars will go, unless that proc was an Ares as well. But on the edge of the base, that's not going to matter. Alright, so last base, lucky last. Who has the last? I think it's Nuclear, it's like 288. Okay, perfect. So the last one on the Guild Wars. Little bit of a more in-depth strategy talk today as well, guys. So a little bit of a longer video, but you know, let me know if the videos you think the videos are too long, or you'd like timestamps in them so you know exactly where to go to for each new base, because I do like to talk about the strategy and the drop on a lot of it. So this is nothing, no new heroes, no Athenes, no Empowers, no Franks, just a standard Gunslinger. Just a standard Gunslinger and Ronin to deal with. So it doesn't look like there's going to be anything crazy, so as per normal I like to drop Ronin at the top. Actually that's not right, I like to drop Ronin on a Walla. So he might get caught on the Walla, I'm not sure. No, he's gone all the way up. So he died, and what I don't really like that, so I'm going to go in again, but I have forgotten that I generally like my Ronin going up against Walla. Why? Because it seems that Walla doesn't do enough damage to kill him, but offers as a nice little target to hit. And so long as we're dropping troops in the corner to distract the copters, it seems to be alright. So even though that Walla may be Flame Guard, oh no, he's gone in. So he's gone in to go to the mic all the way through there. So that's ideal, not ideal. He's died once, he just revived. So whether or not this was the best angle for him to go, no, he's going to kill himself on mic. So we might drop him just from a little bit lower, and I can go over the strategy of trying to pull out the Walla even further, so he kind of just keeps going back and forth and dealing damage on the Walla rather than rather than mic, or going further into the base with other heroes and stuff like that. So now Flame Guard, now he's only 8 skill, right? And if I took him to 10 skill, all of the deflect damage may be too much. Might not be, but generally you would think that the higher the skill, the more damage. Ronin doesn't get any extra more HP. So in that regard, he doesn't seem to be, 8 of 8 Flame Guard. He's going procking against this Walla, if the Walla is... the Walla might be Stone Skin, I don't know. So, but, Burning Plate, Flame Guard seems to be like a logical choice, to be honest. So, you're really just dealing with that 43%. Hero's there, so he's gone down. What are we looking at now? So, we've got really low HP buildings on those mana over there, so that's fine. This top thing may be an issue though. So the good thing about this though is that Gunslinger is the only empowered auto-procking hero. We do have to worry about Skelly once he gets a little bit more energy, but for the most part, Gunslinger is the only one there. So I'm not really worried about the troops so much. They might take up some damage if I dropped Athene and Heartbreaker up top, but they've got a lot of targets to hit. So I think what I'm going to do in this one, I'm going to drop Rockno in here. He's going to deal with... I really want him to deal with this clump here, to be honest, so I might get him stacking on the Skelly and the Anubis. So we'll just drop him in there. He's going to go in. There's an Ares somewhere, but he should be healing because of that 5 Vite straight away. So that's gone down. We've got a little bit of troops left. We've got 1 minute. I'm not too worried about these buildings here because I think if I get the top ones mostly killed off, that Anubis is going to be able to deal with that just fine. Or I can drop them all at the same time to distract, but I've got Tree anyway, so let's just rely on Tree if we need to. So a lot of troops beforehand, and then Athene and Heartbreaker, a lot more troops afterwards. And, we've got a lot of damage going on there. As I said, I probably only have to worry about those bottom buildings. So all the copters were pretty much gone in that corner. We dropped, spammed, and Gunslinger copters went out that way. And Anubis will take care of all of the other buildings. We know the Ares is up there, so unless someone else had silence, he's going to be able to deal with the rest of that. No stress, no worries. So I guess another thing to take note of would be, does a hero you're about to drop your Anubis near, does that hero have the Owl? You might not be able to tell if they have silencing shot, but it's rare that tanky heroes will have the silencing shot in Guild Wars defense. But you could have that off chance where you drop your Anubis and he does get silenced and he can't do more than one Doom Ballon proc. So, alright, that is it for the Guild Wars. They were the top targets this time round, so fairly hefty score. Me and JD up top again, so what have I got? 246. Oh no, 49. I'm generally second or third, not a big deal. What's the competition like? So we're fairly close, but we still have a fair few hours left, and we haven't run Fortress Feud yet. But once again, guys, that was the heroes I was running, using Athene as a nice little dual action combo hitter with Heartbreaker. So as you see in that last base, it worked really well. And switching up Athene and Mike to deal with those Empower Athenes as well. So cool, guys. I might post a video for Fortress Feud. It'd be interesting to see how many Sasquatches and new crazy Athene matches are going on. I think that the talk at the moment is is creation better than Sasquatch? Some people are having different and mixed results, obviously depending on who they're versing, but the idea is one stuns and Sasquatch is stunning everyone with a freeze. It's not even a stun, so his effect might be a little bit better than Creations, but I think it's a bit of a mismatch who is preferred in Fortress Feud. So we might find out, and not that I'm going to have a lot of action videos, but I might be able to look at what teams we're versing in the Fortress Feud and go from there. But thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, enjoy.